Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Protesters, including members of county council and union leaders, gathered outside of the Wayne K. Curry building this morning to demand a revote on a controversial measure that was taken last week in council. Members voted against a measure that would have allowed council members to vote remotely on legislation. District 7 council member Crystal Oriatha says it's unfair given that she'll be taking maternity leave and will not be in attendance when certain votes are taken.
It's time for a revote to show that we are the leader for women. Majority of the voting bloc in this county are women. Majority of the population in Prince George's County are women. The leaders in this county are women. And we do not stop a woman from doing what she does to represent her community. Let's revote.
Meantime, council member at large Mel Franklin has released a statement saying that he and the others who voted against the change do support allowing virtual access under certain rules. Now, under current rules, rather. And he also said District 7 would not be without representation. Well, with the recreational use of cannabis legal in Maryland, one Prince George's council member wants to make sure that communities that were negatively impacted by marijuana have a say-so in how those cannabis tax dollars are spent. Crystal Oriatha has introduced a bill that would create a cannabis reinvestment and restoration commission. The state has imposed a 9% sales and use tax on marijuana. Oriatha says that the committee would ensure impacted communities would have a voice in how the revenues are used.
We're going to see a huge investment come into the county, but it's important that impacted people have voices at the table to decide how those funds are spent and that those funds go into the actual communities that are impacted. So that's our goal, making sure that we prioritize on impacted communities, that we bring impacted community stakeholders to the table.
And that measure is currently in committee. Well, Montgomery County Council members introduced a bill that would phase out the tipped minimum wage for service workers. The legislation, led by Will Jawando, would require employers to pay a full minimum wage with tips on top. This afternoon, sponsors held a press conference in Rockville alongside allies of the measure. Last month, state lawmakers gathered in Ocean City to participate as servers for an hour. The event was to show support for restaurant servers and signal lawmakers' plans to pass similar legislation statewide. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Coming up, a special treat for school kids in Bladensburg. Amal, the social justice puppet, stops by for a visit. We'll have details after the break.
Think buying fake products is harmless? Think again. Counterfeits are made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. Each year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products are sold in the U.S. I smell big crime. Think about it. If you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart. Buy smart. Go for real.
Welcome back. Well, a county high school welcomes a 12-foot puppet to campus this morning. This is little Amal, a puppet that represents a 10-year-old Syrian refugee girl. Amal is visiting Prince George's to tell the story of Syrian refugees and to spread awareness of displaced children around the world. The Amal Walks Across America initiative is making stops around the U.S. until November 5th. This morning's stop was at the International High School of Langley Park.
I hope that she inspires everyone to not feel inhibited by their stories and to see the magic within themselves, and also work as a mechanism to see how we can create space for each other, because everyone's stories matter.
We understand the challenges that immigrants face. We understand the challenges that young people face in this current society. Our goal is to work with everyone to create an environment where every one of our kids, no matter where they're from, no matter what their backgrounds are, have the optimal opportunity to thrive.
And today's event was in partnership with UNICEF USA. Tonight, little Amal, the puppet, will make her way to the district for an event at Union Station. Well, Maryland Senate President Bill Ferguson, State Superintendent of Schools Mohammed Chowdhury, and other leaders were in Annapolis this morning to announce a historic investment of $120 million of state money for behavioral and mental health services for K-12 students. Officials say that this issue is important for all families.
When mental health issues were hitting a child or there was something happening outside of school, it was impossible inside the classroom. And so the key here is building that foundation of strong young people, both mentally and physically, so that they can be their best selves.
We envision a system that operates as a seamless healthcare continuum that includes prevention, primary behavioral health care, culturally competent crisis services, and addresses ongoing mental health and substance use needs that support children and help them thrive in their communities and their schools.
Our kids are resilient. Mine give me hope every day when they go off to school. As parents, we don't always know what's going on inside their heads, and that's why it's so important that these resources are going to be there when our kids need them.
And in other news, a local university takes part in an inaugural pilot project with well-known analytics. Now, Bowie State University and Alabama A&M University have joined a pilot program with FICO. It's called the Educational Analytics Challenge. Under the program, students will study FICO data to determine if there's bias that could negatively impact people of color.
This is a really big deal because HBCUs and Bowie State in particularly has an opportunity to be represented at the table because as data is being constructed, it's being categorized, it's being placed in algorithms, they're looking at patterns of data. If everyone is not at the table who is represented, then those particular features or categories can be missing.
And the students will present a capstone project to FICO later this fall. Meantime, at an event on Monday, students learned how FICO is utilizing artificial intelligence. Well, the Maryland Attorney General is asking for public input regarding the merger of two supermarket giants. Anthony Brown is asking residents to weigh in on the proposed merger of supermarket chains Kroger and Albertsons. Kroger is known for operating Harris Teeter, like this store in Bowie. And Albertsons operates Safeway, which has stores throughout the region. To comment on the merger, you can visit the website marylandattorneygeneral.gov. Well, U.S. Senate candidate David Trone releases new TV and digital campaign ads. The first 30-second video is entitled Fair Shake. It focuses on the family farm he grew up on that was later lost to foreclosure. Trone's second ad is called Advocate. It details his support for abortion rights and expanded access in Western Maryland. Trone is facing several candidates in the race, including Angela Alsobrooks and Will Jawando. And still ahead on CTV News tonight, Simon Buggs and your Tuesday Sports Page report. Stay tuned.
What's going on, sports fans? And coming up in a bit, Bowie State head football coach Kyle Jackson, as well as Commanders head coach Ron Rivera, both talk about how their teams can improve in 2023. Stay right there.
I'm late. I'm going as soon as this train passes.
I can't believe this. I have to get to the other side.
Coach said he'd throw me off the team if I was late again. If I cross the tracks here, I can save 10 minutes.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, police identify the victim of a Friday night homicide in Capitol Heights. He's 52-year-old Michael Fernando Davis. And last Friday, Davis was found in the 5700 block of Gladstone Way, suffering from trauma. A reward of up to $25,000 is being offered for details leading to the arrest of the person responsible for his death. Well, new and free COVID-19 vaccines will soon be available to county residents. That's thanks to a $900,000 federal grant to health agencies across the state. Greater Baden Medical Services, based here in Prince George's County, will get about $63,000 for vaccine services. The grant is being used to ensure that residents have access to vaccines regardless of their insurance status. And the number of homes sold in Maryland has fallen, but the average sales price is up. According to the August Maryland Realtors Statistics Report, the number of homes sold in Maryland fell 20%, yet the average sales price rose 4%. Meantime, the report says the median sales price increased by 6% to $415,000.
All right, sports fans, it's time for your Tuesday sports page. We'll start with some college football news. The Bowie State football team moved to 2-1 this past weekend after defeating Shaw University 21-7 in their first home game of the season. While the team has started the season off strong, there are some things the Bulldogs need to correct moving forward. I caught up with head coach Kyle Jackson after Saturday's game, and he believes the team needs to display more discipline.
Moving forward, I think we had too many penalties. You know, put us in some bad situations and took us out of some good situations. You know, so just got to clean those things up. You know, that comes with discipline and just being intentional with things.
The Bulldogs will try and get their third win of the season when they take the field against St. Augustine's University on Saturday. Switching to the NFL, the Washington Commanders took down the Denver Broncos in a high-scoring game this past Sunday, 35-33. The Commanders made a lot of good plays offensively, but head coach Ron Rivera says the team struggled with consistency.
We moved the ball. Unfortunately, we weren't consistent that we needed to be. Whether it was we dropped the ball, whether it was we missed a block, or we got a penalty, and you know, and then we missed a kick. That was disappointing. I mean, at worst, at one point we should have been down 8. It should have been 14-6, you know, something like that. But everything that happened, everything that we did wrong is easily corrected.
And that is your Tuesday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
And now it's time for your community calendar. The cities of Brentwood and Mount Rainier are inviting you to a Latino Heritage Month celebration. That's on Friday, September 29th, and from 5 to 8 p.m. And you can check out that free event. It'll take place at the Bunker Hill Fire Station. You can, it'll include live entertainment as well as arts and crafts for the entire family. Again, that event will be on Friday, September 29th. And that is CTV News for now. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Patricia Villa, and have a great night.
My dad was my hero. He was a hero to a lot of other people too, because he was a firefighter. A few years ago, he was diagnosed with cancer from doing search and recovery at Ground Zero in the aftermath of 9/11.
I was working 3 jobs and going to school, but every chance I got, I went to the hospital to see him.
I was holding his hand when he took his last breath. I didn't want to let him go. I wanted my dad to be proud of me. I wanted to do something to help people, just like he did. I couldn't be a firefighter because I'm way too scrawny, but I could be a nurse.
College is crazy expensive. Even working 3 jobs wasn't enough. First Responders Children's Foundation gave me a scholarship that helped me pay for college and lifted a huge weight from my shoulders.
I just recently graduated from college, passed my boards, and am now a licensed registered nurse in New York. It feels really good to help people. If everybody were to help someone else, the world would be a much better place.
So what are you gonna do?